everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today is a highly requested video. I put a poll out on YouTube not that long ago and 50% of you said that you wanted more school related videos, so that is what I'm doing today. I have already done a how I got an A star in geography video, so if you want to check that out then the link will be somewhere up here. Today is going to be a how I got an A in A-level biology. Obviously I know I didn't take the exam, so it's not actually how I did in the exam, but it's everything that I was doing leading up to when schools got shut. If you enjoy school related videos and anything to do like with revision, then please give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Follow me on my social media. You can just send me a direct message or DM on Instagram and I will be happy to answer any of your questions. I feel like with these videos I don't actually realise how much I've done until I get it all out in one like big pile. Got all of that work. It's so much work just for one subject. I had for each year 2 folders for the 2 different teachers. So obviously over year 12 and 13 I've got 4 folders. Also got these 2 notebooks that I bought for classwork as well. These ones were from Typo and they're actually quite good because they have like these little slots so you can put like any loose sheets, and then I would basically just write all my classwork notes in here and then mark in like different pens. I don't really know where to go with the classwork because obviously it's just whatever you do in class, what your teacher set you. I would say just always finish your classwork because there was times where maybe we didn't finish the classwork in class, but she would be like finish it for homework, and she would never actually check but just finish it because otherwise you're gonna be confused later on about a certain topic. I didn't really use the classwork, it was more just literally in class writing it down for the first time. I never really went over my classwork notes again. Biology textbooks. You need to rely on biology textbooks so much. They are literally your life and saviour for A-level biology. Everything you need to know is in them textbooks. I did OCR biology and honestly you get 2 textbooks throughout the 2 years, so one for AS biology, one for like the A-level biology year 2. So good. They've literally got everything in them. They've got keywords at the front, practice questions, exam style questions, key things for each topic. They're literally so good, so I would definitely just use the textbooks. One thing that my teachers were very keen on were the like exam style questions at the end of each page. There's so many of them and my teacher made us basically do every single question in the textbook. It was kind of annoying, like it takes so long to do. They are really annoying that whenever they got set for homework I was always like, more questions. But what is that in my hair? So helpful, like even though at the time you're like, oh god, more questions, it's actually very helpful. So I would recommend doing the practice questions in the textbook. And read what's in the textbook, but it's actually good to put what you've just read and done into practice with the practice questions. If that makes sense. Well, I've actually made like subdividers, so this is practice questions, and my teacher actually just gave these to us as like homework. But if your teacher doesn't give you practice questions, then just go up to them and ask. They will probably have a folder full of them somewhere. I think physics and maths tutor supply practice papers and practice questions. I'm not sure where else does. If anyone watching this knows any good websites, then leave them down below for people to like see. Teachers actually used to do K tests, so like knowledge tests, and they were literally like, most of them were like multiple choice, but some of them did a bit more, and they used to be at the end of every topic, and I found them actually really helpful because it meant that you did like a little bit of revision each topic. It meant that you revised and made notes for each topic as you went along. Like a mind map that I've done for DNA. It's a bit messy, it's probably not the best mind map. We've got a DNA replication mind map. I was never really a big mind map person, but I just did it like every now and then. Oh, this was another thing my teacher always gave. Bio fact sheets. I don't know if you can find these online, but she always used to give them like a lot of the topics, and they used to have like a lot of information, and then I would just go through and highlight them if she gave them. There's loads of them, and to be fair, and there's practice questions at the end as well, but to be fair, I feel like they went into a bit too much depth. Sometimes just thought, what the hell are they going on about? Now going into like how I actually revised. In year 12, it's the same for my geography video. I did it in a different way in year 12 that I wish I hadn't have done, but I think it's worth me showing you how I did revise in year 12. I had 2 textbooks, one for each teacher, which I shouldn't have done basically, because even though I do them with different teachers, they're not different papers, they all get mixed together, so by separating them was a bit of a bad idea. And I've got a few flashcards. I'm not a big fan of flashcards, but I remember doing this just before a test, like quickly. I don't like a lot of information or you need to like quickly revise, then write key points on flashcards. These were actually quite good because you could go back to them, because this was something that I really couldn't remember, so I used to just keep going back to these. I had little dividers to divide each topic. What I did was I used to go through the textbook, start with the topic that I was doing and just work my way through the textbook, writing down keywords in one colour, so I used pink. I had like all different colours, draw diagrams as well, condensing the notes, because I feel like the biology textbook really waffles it out a lot. It might be a whole 2 sentences, but really all you need to write is like 2 words. Sometimes though, I feel like I'm rewriting the textbook, which is a bad thing to do because it's so time consuming. This doesn't look condensed, but I promise you it is. Diagrams in A-level biology are really important. There's so many diagrams, like the structure of an antibody. Just make it really clear and label it how you would want it to be labelled for you to remember. The same in this one. Again, not the best diagrams, but they are diagrams. It made it really clear. This size textbook was a lot better. Basically just have all of the key points in here. I mean, that looks like a lot of highlighting, but highlight key points. That's worked for me. Like, it does make it go into my brain, but it is very time consuming, and I know a lot of the time you want something a bit quicker and more effective, but for me this is just what works. I think that I also did in year 12, another folder was mind maps. I said I wasn't a big mind map person, but I used to do these for like a page for each double spread of the textbook. I used to like colour coordinate, so this whole page was pink. On lipids, I would just condense the notes, but for me, I think this is just too much everywhere. This was a purple page for meiosis and adaptations. So my teacher actually started it and then I finished it, so it's actually a glossary. I didn't do it for every topic, but this was for classification, and you've got all of the different like keywords. Most of these I actually made before I had an exam. So say if I had like a class exam and I hadn't revised, I used to do these as like mind maps before I had them. Going on to how I actually revised, so this was how I was revising for the majority of year 13. What I actually did was I wrote, like I typed my notes. So instead of handwriting, which just took too long, I realised I didn't have enough time to handwrite all of my notes. I just typed them all, and I used Google Docs because it meant I didn't have my laptop in school, so it meant that I could do it in school, like in freeze, but I could also do it at home, so I could kind of switch between the two. It was like an easy access. Start at the beginning of the textbook, and I would write 5.1, which was the chapter, what the chapter was, and then I would write each subtopic. In red, I would write the keywords, subtopic headings, and bullet points all the way down. So as you can see, this was all from the textbook. Graphs and diagrams got a lot more complicated, and you would spend like half an hour drawing a graph. So I used to just get one off the internet or take a picture of it in the textbook and put it on like to my laptop so I could get it on there. Make tables of the advantages and disadvantages. Just make tables to make things easier to see, and yeah, get diagrams, put arrows to the diagrams. I would print that off and staple it. So that whole bit is just of 5.1. I had them for pretty much every single one, so I would tick it off as I go along, and if it didn't include something, I would just handwrite it in. These were so easy because if you wanted to just revise one topic, I could just take this one little bit pack of paper with me, and it was just really easy to get in and out of school. A lot of information in there. Also, it was very satisfying to revise from because I feel like it was just all very neat, where my handwriting wasn't getting messy because I was rushing. So this was just a good way for me to revise. You can obviously make things bold to make them stand out, put different colours in, put highlighter on it. It's kind of how I revised in year 13. I thought that was a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot more effective. Patterns of inheritance, keywords list. So making keywords lists. I mean, I've got here some mind maps that I made before an exam. Again, just condensing notes. I feel like I just did a real mixture of things. Something new that I was actually doing, which I also showed in my geography revision, were these new revision techniques that my school recommended and said was really effective and quick. Clock in the middle, divided into 5-minute segments. So you would write your topic in the middle and then spend 5 minutes reciting what you know from each subtopic, if that makes sense, and then you would go back over in a different colour pen and add what you had missed off. I wrote photosynthesis in the middle and spent 5 minutes. So this was light dependent stage, light independent stage, factors affecting photosynthesis, chloroplasts, photosynthetic pigments, and relationship between photosynthesis and respiration were my subtopics, and then I would write what I could remember between, and then you can see here I've highlighted bits that maybe I've missed. I just feel like this is another quick but effective way, so it's only going to be maximum an hour for a whole topic. I have so many random bits of paper, it's actually bad, but I've got all different random bits of like where I've started things. So this was what we did in class actually, and this is just so easy to have at hand, just one bit of paper with all about the brain on it. And this was before exams, where I would just literally write information on it. It was so messy. Look how messy these diagrams are. You obviously need to apply it. I feel like that's one big thing about biology, is actually applying what is in the textbook. So that is where practice questions come in handy. And practice question is probably the best way that you can revise, because even if you don't know it, you can then look at the mark scheme and it might jog your memory about something you've forgotten. These were what my school gave me. They gave me so many exam papers. Again, ask your teacher for them if they don't give them. I haven't even done them all. Like, they were meant to be done, like, obviously leading up to your exams, but exams did not happen. I mean, like, even going through it, I didn't do every single question. I would just pick the questions that maybe I didn't know how to do. These are all from OCR A-level biology, and I think you can probably find them online. This was my end of year 13 examination. It was a B, and then I found, like, I think I found 4 marks in the paper that were, I think they just didn't mark a question, they just left it. So getting them 4 marks bumped me up to an A. So that is another thing I'd say, check your teacher's marking. See, that would have probably affected my grade for my final A-level result. My school actually set up A-level exam practice group sessions, so we all got grouped. I think it was kind of dependent on like your predicted grade. We got grouped together to work together on an exam paper. This would be the week beginning the 4th of November, and she would set some kind of exam question pack, and then we would all meet in the same room, do the exam questions together, so you can kind of help each other, and it would help with revision. I really found them helpful, but a lot of the time people did not turn up to these study sessions. But even if their people didn't turn up, I would just do it myself. In my school we had 10th period lessons, so we used to have 9 lessons a fortnight, and then the 10th lesson used to be without a teacher, and so for that they used to set again exam questions. This shows how many practice questions I actually did, because all of these papers are practice questions, and these are like thick. It shows doing practice questions is key. Even my school was trying to push us to do it. If your teacher doesn't, or like your school doesn't set up these study groups, you could just create your own little study group and work through practice questions together. You could find a day that you've all got the same free on and make your own study session. Sometimes there was one question we got stuck on. We used to go back into the textbook, look through the textbook and like revise together. If you're watching this and you're from my school, then definitely attend them. Don't be the person that doesn't not attend them, because I found them really helpful. Use your classwork time wisely, up to date with classwork, do your homework, organise your notes. I didn't use my classwork notes for revision, but they were more of like a getting it down on paper for the first time, and then obviously when you revise it you're revisiting it. So you've got keywords, key points, make little stars with like key facts in it, kind of be creative with it, and then hopefully you'll be more inclined to revise from it. Do loads of practice questions, do as many practice questions as you can fit in. I think that is the most important point. You get to grips, like a lot of the questions come up twice or in a similar format, to realise what questions are popular and like what ones might come up, and then you'll know the mark scheme for them. Oh, and the required practical folder, that is another point, but I don't have it here because it's in school. Still in school, it's going to be lost somewhere in there. Make sure you write them up and do what they say. So if they say you need a graph for that required practical, then you need to do a graph, you need to do a conclusion. Just make sure you have your required practical folder up to date. Do it as you go along. If you don't pass that, there's no point in even taking the test, because you have to have passed your required practical folder to actually get a grade. I never even did all of the required practicals. That was what happened because coronavirus. I never ended up finishing the required practicals. So I just wanted to add, don't let this like stress you out and be like, oh my god, that is so much work to do, because as you do it over time, gradually it just builds up. To be fair, my teacher did say don't just do one topic at a time. She was like, maybe mix topics so that you get to like revise them all kind of at the same time. To be fair, sometimes I did do 2 2 Google Docs open at one time and just switch between the two. I hope that you found this video helpful. Good luck with A-level biology. I hope you enjoy it. There is a lot of content. If you want me to answer any other questions or I missed something out, then please message me on Instagram. Leave down below any links to anything that you think anyone else will find helpful. This is how I revised for A-level biology, and that is how I got my A. Please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, follow me on social media, and yeah, I will see you in my next video.